Welcome everyone to another video. I mentioned a couple of times autoconf considered harmful, and today is actually the right day to shed some more light onto this. I probably also should have resized my terminal before going live. Because what happens, as usual, I mentioned a couple of times, and building our Linux distribution for all architectures, and just out of Exacode now sponsoring T2 more than ever, this amazing non-RPM forked distribution for all architectures. And now we can more continuously build stuff, right? And things are updated, gettext and so on. So building latest and greatest and everything, and relative trivial stuff fails, right? And this is one of those kind of things where GNU autoconf really sucks enormously. And I wanted to quickly share this. I debugged this already. It took, as usual, way too long. Recurring subscribers see me here relatively fast-paced typing here through build errors, but this was quite a head-scratcher and rather annoying. So the latest gettext version doesn't build, was also updated just like last June, like a month ago. And it fails to build with uClib-ng, right? And my initial criticism would already be, I said so many times, with 30 plus years of Linux and 40 plus years of the Free Software Foundation, and this being quite primary projects, and even including uClib-ng, you might say, yeah, everything on glibc is alternative, not mainstream. But fact is, uClib-ng was created specifically for microcontroller embedded things, and you may not like it, you might hate it, but it has users, right? Especially not only you want smaller than glibc, but initially 20 years ago or 20 plus years ago, uClib-ng was also for MMU-less systems, right? So if you want to run a really small system, for even on a DSP, right? Previous videos, and supported by T2, you want to run it on a relatively high performance Blackfin DSP, TI Blackfin DSP. Also, yes, I know they're also deprecated and so on, but nonetheless, you want to run this on some Motorola 68K microcontroller without MMU, some still quite fast and relatively recent, even gigahertz TI Blackfin DSP. You might need it. And so the build error, so that is a build error, right? And that brings me straight to how much autoconf, especially the GNU autoconf, sucks. Because what's happening here is, so this says here config h, error construct PO error handler has no member named lib gettext PORPL error. Did you mean some random garbage? Multi-line errors, like no, it means it. And here's also some define RPL error lib gettext PORPL error. And the thing is, I believe it doesn't even, due to the use of the macro, it doesn't even show the real error location here, which sucks even more. I debugged this, so you might say this is just some source code error, right? But the issue of this, 330, this is also another directory, gettext, tools, lib gettext, whatever, lib gettext PO, of course. And which line was it? 330 or so. Do I still have that? 330. And so that is just a define, right? And I debugged through this already. You see here -e, and what do we find? Still, it took even quite a while to even find this here. This is so ridiculous, to be honest. And this is also not only, I come in just the text just a minute. This is already the fast version of finding this build error. Struct, yeah, the struct here. Not sure if we bet. Oops. Where even? Okay. Don't click the wrong tab in your many terminal tabs. Struct PO error handler. That is here. And in my opinion, the GCC error message could also be better, right? So that is somehow in the struct, and then because the error message is not better, at least as far as I've seen it. All right, this was dash POC. All right, we have that there. Get text dash POC. And as so often in GNU stuff, where even was it? Was it even? Oh wait, dash H, of course. And so this is also modern C, right? Well, already not the most readable with all these attributes. Also, I mean, this is also actually, I mean, as much as unreadable as it is, as it might appear, what this does is just using GCC GNU C extensions, as you see here, for attributing these functions to take a printf compatible format, so that the compiler can apply the same warnings and errors to similar to printf functions. And so that is not the error, right? So here is actually clearly error in there, right? So what is happening here is actually, was it here? Somewhere they redefine in all their amazingness, in all their wisdom. Which of the many headers was it even? In some headers they redefine error and similar such things define. Also, in my opinion, the whole thing is software. This here is quite software development from hell, to be honest. Because this is around so many corners and a maze of define error. So here is, and so this took much longer. Obviously, this is a fast thing here in just less than 5 minutes or so. Here is if GNU-lib replace error, right? So, and here we start, here we go, and seriously, don't do this. This is so hilarious. So what they've done here is, and you will find a lot of GNU and Free Software Foundation FSF projects full of this. This is such a annoying coding style of redefining things, and then also this GNU autoconf, coming back full circle to why this GNU autoconf considered harmful, is testing everything and having, I mean, testing everything and the kitchen sink, and the tests often are being wrong. I said this basically so often, right? Testing 1,000 things and 90%, over 90% they test random bullshit. And then so they test here things, so that comes from configure, obviously. This is also if you are wondering how this usually works, there is a GNU autoconf, GNU automake. And so one is M4 macros substituting to, so basically this is substitution of substitution stuff, because the GNU configure stuff, I mean, obviously if you look into this, all right, maybe either it's not here, then it is in the top, and in the higher level, because this project of course has multiple, I mean, nobody writes this shellcode, right? This is extremely mass substituted, mass generated. This is true 103,196 freaking lines, right? It's like, yeah, I mean, obviously nobody is that insane. Why is this so large? Because of course it is generated here of much smaller, only 610 lines. 610 GNU Auto make lines generates this from M4 macro library galore to 3,196 lines. So the issue here with this is, my real criticism is 90% of the shit, I mean, first of all, it is completely unmaintainable, readable stuff, except, okay, you could argue this M4 macros is actually not that bad at 600 lines, but hey, if something, I would actually argue if this stuff is written in shell, in pure shell with shell functions, it would actually be more readable and stuff and more maintainable instead of this. Because raise your hand if you ever maintained M4 macros, you certainly know how fragile, error-prone stuff that is. But the real problem with all this, my point is all the surrounding infrastructure already sucks and is annoying, right? But then they also 90% of the time test stuff that is pointless to test. I mean, either it works, in my opinion, all those projects would be so much better if instead of trying to support all kinds of decade-old stuff that I like decade-old stuff, right? Give me SGRobtain, give me some Ultraspark, but not supporting latest software, like latest GNU or non-GNU software on HPUX or Solaris or whatever, right? Or SGI-RX of all unmaintained and abandoned things. Because it only results in such an substituting error-prone mess, right? And then the crazy stuff is, so they test here, they have here things for define, replace error. And the craziest thing is, so that is here also somewhere in no, where was it even? Function error. What was the test string for? Do I still have this in define error? Working. Working error. So they test here of all things ACCV function error and cache. So this is of course all the substituted complex code for is it native, is it cache. So even this bloody simple test is already some 50 or whatever lines. Where is it even now? What was it even? Function working. So this already is some 50 or so lines. And then if cross-compiling, and so the problem with this test, a lot of tests are runtime tests, so they need to run the code. Otherwise, historically, they often, if we can't run this test for cross-compiling, they're usually errored out. Nowadays, I mean, not only they support caching, so that like T2, our Linux distribution, we pre-fill this cache with reasonable stuff. And also now more often than not, they guess some stuff, but not always. So for example, we still need to patch bash and other. So we often, despite all the fallbacks and guessing, we still have to guide and patch and stuff it. And so then here in cross-compiling, somewhere here is where it fails, right? So they, if try compile here, if we couldn't compile it or whatever, if core, whatever, yeah. So they have it here even hard-coded, right? If try compile line number, I'm not even sure. If this is, yeah, so this is, if this looks a little bit reversed, but whatever. So the case here, so 50 lines of, hey, let's test it, but if we can't test it, let's guess it. And as you see here, it's only GNU, right? So this only matches for GNU stuff like GNU-libc, but we are building arch target for OpenRISC OR1K, because why not T2 Linux uClib-c, like you would build with uClib-c. And so obviously this only matches for -GNU or other GNU, like GNU-hurt probably. Also, this is also funny, right? Like, hey, for all OSs with GNU-libc, or if it's like GNU-hurt with any other C library, no, whatever, or Linux, Android, and otherwise GL cross-guess some random stuff of enable cross-guesses, why not? And then if this is negative, then eventually redefines this, right? And so, so what is the point? So there are multiple things, right? It is a complex error-prone mess that more often than not doesn't work. So why even write all the tests and generate over 100,000 lines of code when then they have, for some strange backups? So what's supposed to happen here is, and that is so often in this complex stuff, working error here somewhere, and CV, where do we even set that? That here, no, I believe that's probably that. And then they substitute the stuff here, right, for some fallbacks. And what's happening then here is then they substitute all the stuff, config h of error here somewhere. Wherever that was, this is maybe in the error in h, was it either working or actually I think it was replace error. Yeah, so if they have replace error, then they undef here all this stuff and undef and define. So this is also just safeguarding, right? Because otherwise this could error out if it's defined already. Amazing C preprocessor. So they define error print proc name message, and there is probably more. There should be, oops, I did this wrong. With replace define, undef define error at lines. So they also redefine that here, and somewhere they also redefine error. Anyway, long story short, my point is they waste our time to test all this stuff, which for cross builds usually doesn't even work, and then their workarounds of things not working more often than not, because nobody is freaking using it, don't even compile, right? This is so hilarious. And then the craziest thing is I patched that here, as I usually do, because like, yeah, YOLO, whatever, I don't care about all those random nonsense. So I actually patched this out in this configure of working error here. And it's like, I just patch uClib-c in here somewhere, where we just have been here. Let's like, obviously do like, yeah, it's like uClib-c is fine. And I saved this, I reconfigured that, and it also didn't work. Because turns out they have this multiple times, right? So even that took me through, like even workaround patching this took me 3 times, because of course I'm a moron. And because they have it here multiple times, right? They have it here in libtext style, configure. So all this configure stuff runs even multiple times. They have it in gettext tools configure, and they have it in gettext runtime configure. And of course in, oops, also best without typo, configure without typo there, configure. Yeah, they have, lo and behold, okay, they have also some examples, 7. Otherwise, if we, without examples, yeah, press shift space, yeah. Yeah. Whatever. I could also in the meantime have manually counted that. Oh, there's also lib as in printf and Intel configure, yeah, amazing. Yeah, because they have, of course, 6 configures in here. And so first I patched it in here and it didn't work. Then I patched it in gettext runtime and that didn't work until I realized, nah, darn, the first time I looked a closer look into the log file, because probably I looked into the log file and the next thing that was run was the module, the submodule before that was gettext runtime, but then I patched it there, of course, but then it turns out actually the first submodule, which with that is libtext style. And the other configures are run with the same cache. So the first, at least of wasting serial non-parallel performance, they at least run here with the top level, as you see here, running configure with the top level config cache. So that is why even patching this, so even the simple thing probably cost me more than 30 minutes to just work around it. And as per usual with this nonsense, so this is basically, I hope this is more enough example of like this. This is why I say so often 90% is pointless tests. And also the only constant is change and regressions, right? Because I'm pretty sure this built last month. And you update gettext and it fails for the stuff, right? And so what could be done better? In my opinion, it would be better to, I mean, I have my own small little configure stuff, which, do I even have that here? Here I have one. So this is my open source exact image is also using that. And so just some 55 lines of readable shellcode, right? Package check with package config or header or whatever. Super readable stuff, very, very little code. And like, this is all sure. And you need probably some tests, like do you have libjpeg, do you want libjpeg and stuff, fair enough. But that is, in my opinion, how minimal it should be. And the difference between minimal, simple as possible by design, and this GNU autoconf monster. And last but not least, many of those tests, either I would not support, like if your C library is like from 20 years ago, like if you want to write somewhat decent C code, then just write somewhat decent C code and do not have configure tests for old stuff. I mean, either to fail, like, hey, the compile would fail anyway. Any halfway decent programmer would eventually see that it's some new C feature. And just expect some reasonable non-broken C library and C++ library. And hey, even uClib-c is unbroken enough, except maybe for glib, we will see in a second. Because it also fails now somehow, which probably did build a month ago. I mean, we could step over that. Not sure how usually if we step over such major components, we shoot ourselves into our food quickly. I just could leave it compile. And otherwise, if, of course, there are sometimes features and additions to GNU libc, it's like a package config. So let's see. I'm not sure because this is some minimal thing. Maybe lots of other things do not even need this. We can continue this for a minute. We can also try to take a look into that. But if you need to check for other features, then just do it in the C code. As they, for example, you have seen there, actually I could theoretically go in there again for this sources here, gettext, and because they had, you have seen for the attributes, they even had simple preprocessor checks, right? And of course, do not open code that for all of the files. So that was gettext tools of libgettext po, and then attribute here GNU-c, somewhere like here. And you don't need configure for that, right? I mean, also you have 100,000 lines of M4 generated configure, and yet you anyway have your sources full with if-defs, because, so what is like if, and for example, when we support Microsoft Visual Studio in our company, or Apple's older and more broken C and stuff, then we just have if-def Apple and if-def MSVC, whatever, right? And then pro tip, do this once in some global portable abstraction wrapper header thing, do it once. And so if def, it's lost. Okay, that is truly many. I mean, for just for the fun, this is of course more than like 170,000, whatever. There are probably many not really. I mean, okay, this is our configure. Let's maybe grab remove config. Okay, also some sh, but so these are the gettext source. Okay, there's still lots of M4 stuff. So there is, okay, that is if-def C++. We could filter this out. Okay, there is also if-def. Okay, this is standard. So this is also standard. I mean, this is absolutely crazy that they have string, standard IO, standard int, replacement headers. It's like, seriously, either write. Also VMS is like sockets, like, yeah, you had one job. Of course, they have some GNU libc replacement stuff, but oh my god, is that? And so this is the foundation of crazy brokenness that we built upon, that is too complex, too error prone ever, and it's also not fun to maintain this project, right? Why do people do new Rust thick and val languages and Swift and so on? Or why do people re-implement core utils in Rust and other things on Rust? Because they don't want to deal with such bullshit anymore, right? And there's certainly, why are there more people doing hip and trendy things for Apple and Microsoft and Google Android instead of GNU Free Software Foundation taking the world over with open free software? Because this is just Frankenstein code from hell, in my opinion, right? That is absolutely no fun to work with. Error-prone, monstrous configure nightmare. I also wonder what they are really thinking, because, okay, maybe Richard Stallman, I start to forget names. Richard Stallman and they probably thought that it's amazing implementation. I mean, obviously those people thought it's an amazing implementation. I mean, when it was invented in the 90s, or also, of course, there were a dozen Unix systems, right? Before there was mostly Linux, and in the 90s, probably there was a little bit more value, but like basically now we have Linux and BSD, or then Apple and yeah, in the 90s it probably had more value, and initially, of course, it were only a handful of M4 macros, but in the meantime, generating 100,000 lines of configure, in my opinion, they're really, people should earlier have realized that this is not scalable, and like it's only scalable to scaling to more brokenness, right? Yeah, so that's basically how to not do it. Keep your stuff simple, have most simple. I mean, the configure, I would still argue the configure API of calling convention of configure prefix, that is certainly reasonable, but all the implementation behind is not. And yeah, do the most minimal stuff. And it's like, yeah, also, I mean, obviously other people realize that GNU Auto tools suck so much that they rather use, or they rather invented the all of CMake and Meson and Ninja, plus a couple of other build systems, than to work with that stuff, obviously. So what's with libiconf? I start to forget the implementation details a little bit with all the C libraries. OpenRisk, do we have that here now or not? Because was it a uClib-c thing? Okay, we have also an oh wait, I actually built this libiconf. That is also not super ideal. I built this for a test. Let's libiconf, and because there was also a shared file, and let's rebuild one uClib-c. And what do we have left? I wonder a little bit where. So this is OpenRisk. Can we QEMU OpenRisk? What? Can't load libiconf? Or maybe we just had built that when I had this installed for a test. Let's see if uTilinux builds. Why is that? No, okay, maybe I just what does it want lib? What does it want now? So this might be broken from me, so yeah, pro tip, don't install potential foreign libraries. Do I have here libicon in wait a second, is it gettext or libintel not found in iconf needed by libintel? Let's check if gettext builds without that. So yeah, but leave in the comments below how much of an are you of GNU autoconf stuff. And we have comments. Don't test things you don't handle. Trebix also sees it a lot. Test if rename at exist and have no fallback or similar. And Hopeless is curious why OpenRisk is only implemented for big endian. Yeah, similar to how Spark and PowerPC were initially mostly implemented for big endian. Many people considered big endian. I mean, even myself, I considered big endian the true endianness. Except despite growing up with x80 live on Intel 386 for 6 years of my young life on DOS and Windows 3.1. And Turbo, Pascal and Turbo Assembler. And despite that, when I saw big endian, I thought that is the only true endianness, and I thought I see enlightenment. However, I wondered why riscv wasn't. I mean, riscv spec does not forbid you big endian. They just say, they just don't specify it in riscv. They say theoretically it is possible to implement, but we don't further specify it. And they write then, of course, in the program visible endian obviously is reversed. Plus, of course, there is a challenge with compressed. That is why x86 makes the most sense in little endian due to the variable length instruction set, because from the low address, the CPU starts to load basically in reverse from the low address. And that is also why it makes more sense for riscv, because of the compressed instructions. If you have like half-size compressed instructions, then that is so much more convenient with little endianness, because you load from the zero address little endian, like little first, and then you compressed instructions make more sense. Might make more sense. But the only thing is, of course, readability, right? Then at little endian is obviously, if you see memory dumps, everything is reversed. That is, of course, a little bit annoying. So this is actually arc. There is some arc-p thing, and probably let me wire that up. This is also the win-win. Why do we do this? Because, of course, now that my company is sponsoring Exacode more than ever, we can just work on this so much more than ever and keep everything more tested on a daily basis. And that is what we do here. And the other win-win is improving our configuration, which sometimes I did not actually. Wait a second, this should have been selected or not. Actually, I have this here already. If libc, so this should actually had been interesting. arc-p, does it not work? OpenRisk packages. Actually, this should have worked. This was libelf, maybe the so 100. No, this should have been all right. Strange. Maybe I should not have. Let's see if it builds. Not sure what I had done there. Yeah, I'll need to check next bit. Let's just actually, we could in parallel, my usual pro tip. let's quickly use the time. Also, not the best for the 37. Let's see if in... Actually, wait, no, that we have probably... Okay, let's... Where did I even build that? Here. Building Vim. Okay, that nearly everything else built. Let's then see glib and see if we can quickly determine what's going on there. I believe previously that did build, and they have here now some iconf internal thing. Although we could potentially use uClib-c parse config probably 9 then of either iconf or do we have I could see if adding Intel, do we have other, what was the other? Maybe we need them, no. Let's see if, oh wait, not package config, glib. Do I have glib in here? Glib format on. So yeah, that actually did build previously. Yeah, 2023 update your glib and it doesn't build for uClib anymore. And the other thing is with gettext and glib, I would really think that we're not the only ones who build all the other architectures. And for this really major packages, I really wonder why it is not common engineering practice, especially with 2012 Linux distributions and probably a handful of commercial distributions that fork their GPM-based distributions from each other, plus all the other 10,000 of open source developers. Why is this not good standard and established style to test compile for glib-c, Musel, and uClib-c, right? All of them are pretty popular. You would really think that, but yeah, that's what we are here for, right? Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, maybe Patreon or YouTube membership to support all our efforts to keep all this crazy stuff, like fixing after others people's fixes, workarounds, and configure tests. It is simply, yeah, crazy. I'm not sure. So yeah, they have here, I saw this earlier already, 2119. 2119. I have no idea what they try here. If libintel found, otherwise. So this is not internal libintel dependency. Did I fix file? I did fix file. Yeah, I have no idea what's up with this stuff here. What those people are thinking. I have no idea. Let's see if that is enough. I have the feeling not, but let's see how lucky we are. Oh, how much more? I could also diff that, right? I'm pretty sure that built another month ago. Also, I should have built this for both. But yeah, the limit of, yeah, that is also why my company pledged 20 million of supporting all these open source efforts over the next decade. Oh, this freaking builds TM. Whoa. I just patched monosearch and the bloody Meson script away. Oh. I mean, I can't be sure that it actually I should not be so with this decade-old Apple Bluetooth keyboard thing before they completely suck, though. Probably should not smash it that much. It's not the worst keyboard of all things. Yeah. win-win of patching and a search in a way keeps build errors away. I would be interested to actually know if the resulting binaries work. So open risk, and this is what embedded Linux people do, right? If you're wondering what my company and our embedded open source virtualization and security division is doing all day long, then that is that. Where's even actual size? Is it here? Because it truly is not actual size. Yeah. If you're wondering what do embedded developers do all day, fixing each other's build errors. But don't forget, we also will move on to our own runtime and microkernel any day now after after having more stuff compiling. Yeah, it's actually freaking compiling. QEMU or OpenRISC 1K. Let's see how this is fared probably now of crypt. Why is popt? Oh, yeah. Okay, probably I moved crypt setup in here without bloody. Also, yeah, popt is another Red Hat invention. Because of course there was not amazing C argument parsing, so of course Red Hat 20 years or so ago had to invent popt, because you can never have enough annoying C library parsing things. Let's quickly check if this is just a matter of, I probably moved it over, grab popt. I probably saw it on minimal systems like SBCs. You probably want those encrypted nowadays for all the secret services and similar such things, keeping secret services and war criminals away. And popt, not actually here, crypt setup, no, that isn't the same. Popt, what's going on here, of OpenRISC, this stuff. No, popt is in there, and crypt. Okay, crypt, we have a lot of crypto in T2. Popt, and should be there. Build OpenRISC. Popt. What's going on here? Somehow not configure testing correctly. Hey, is this topic of this video not failing GNU autoconf stuff and how not to configure? Is that a recommendation? Ewood van Manson, consider buying in Logitech MX Mechanical or MX Keys Mini. Buy the business edition with a Logi Bolt. So that is a recommendation, or so? I mean, I'm not in the office, right? I mean, I have enough keyboards, including previous video. I have, of course, my Tech Yoda 2 here, right? But real keyboard fanatics, they save their precious mechanical Cherry MX Switch keyboard for, it's like 100,000 keystrokes on this failing piece of shit. Yeah, saving the MX. But yes, this is of course hilarious. Why do I even do this? Actually, probably I do this because otherwise my child previous video smashes too much on this keyboard. Alright, also Apple keys. Alright, this has some keys more, yeah. But so because otherwise my recommendations actually do not, like, if you have some precious stuff, actually use it, because you never know what happens tomorrow in these crazy times. And actually, yeah, my actual recommendations actually use your good stuff, unlike saving it for when you're a pensioner, and makes no sense. But do you have enough wireless keyboards? No, I don't. I actually, maybe I have two like my, okay, theoretically I have more, but I have two real, actually, yeah, both are Apple. I have a full-sized Apple Bluetooth wireless thing. Did it came with the G5? I'm not sure. Yeah, but the good thing is of this small Apple aluminum things, I also have this wired. I believe I might have two small mini Apple aluminum keyboards wired. I actually prefer wired. I also prefer this one over the new ones, because this one has user swappable batteries, right? Look at this amazing innovation, right? Nothing like some good Eneloop Pro here. They last for decades. You can recharge it 1,000 times. And even then you can just get new ones. Is it not user swappable batteries? That is also an invention made in heaven. So, but we had code to do, and that is code to do. What is going on here with crypt? Also, yeah, of course, crypt setup. But yeah, thanks for the recommendation. I saw. The thing is, I kind of have enough. I probably should employ some more new embedded. Like, hey, if you want to work on probably, if you're looking for a job, maybe some job openings coming soon. Growing like Louis Rossmann, yeah, with all this stuff, because I obviously can't use more than 2 keyboards at a time. One for primary and one for secondary testing. So, what's going on with zip stuff? Config log error. You need p-op. Yeah, thank you very much. What's going on here? Oh, cool, libicon. All right, maybe I had this built. Maybe we built this wrong when I had this. Is maybe my fault. Oops. When we had this other additional library installed. What's going on? User program. This is also here. Okay, yeah, this even freaking works. And the other question then was package config. Like, yeah, just one configure, like one hacky configure hack and one commented out assertion, Mason assertion. And this is why I lose my faith in open source and humanity, right? I'm doing this for 25 years and stuff still breaks on a daily basis like it was 1998, right? And I increasingly wonder, why do I sit every freaking day and fix others people trivial configure and questionable code like 64, and this is not even all, right? So 64,000 revisions later, when and that is only since 2003, right? So this is only 20 years, because the first 5 years we didn't even use a version control because CVS sucked so much, right? So in total, it's easily 100,000 revisions, because all the initial stuff is version history is lost. Okay, other stuff is building, and then let's see, user bin package config somewhere. Package config, where is our? Yeah, it was with dash. It's always confusing. It should be there though, right? Didn't we not build that? I mean, it should be not. User bin package. Hello? Did we not build package config? Is this that? Yeah, so I'm not fixing everything today. It might be related to my previously installed libiconf thing. Log. libintel gettext in display as a file of, which is it even? Is it this one? Maybe this is because it's coming from, is this, not sure, is this start? Let's see if we can, so glib may or may not have been needed. Let's comment it here for me as a reminder to having to check that. Are you enriched uranium? Are you using T2? Of course we're using T2. Because this is an M1 Mac, this is an Ryzen 7950X. So of course this is a T2 Linux, as you may or may not. Actually, why is this not showing? Probably my NeoFetch is too old. Not really sure. it is possible. Yeah, maybe because this one here. I had this here installed for. So that is usually not installed. This might. Oh no, it was. Yeah. Just my front and my thin client is right now native macOS because it is an M1 Max MacBook and Asha Linux is not. Well, I have Asha Linux and even okay, I closed OBS right now. I closed QEMU. Otherwise, I even run T2 Homebrew compiled QEMU here on that. Otherwise, but because I'm in my home office today, not on my usually I live stream from that. But when I'm in my home office, I'm not rebooting into native Asha Linux because I also don't have a hardware like nobody. I'm not spending my precious lifetime, unpaid lifetime to reverse engineer Apple's crazy stuff. So the video and code stuff has not been reverse engineered. So I'm as long as I'm not regularly can comfortable live stream from native Apple Silicon things, then yeah. Anyway, also this gives me a good chance to actually test T2 Homebrew right for that. Okay, so subversion might be similar to this one here. What do we even do here? libintel. That subversion maybe. Let's see if that fixes that too. And what were the comments? Nice, using Arch for var, Chris, T2 can use as a daily driver. Yeah, I can, but I and other can. Yeah, your comments welcome and stuff. What did we want? Ja, willst du schnell rausgehen? Ja. Du bist doch schon groß. You're already tall. Can you take your pacifier out? But we are live on YouTube. Komm mal her, Junior. Komm mal, take, genau, pacifier out and then... So... You have it good. You don't need to debug open source issues every day yet. So we wanted to test package config. Where is package? Okay, subversion is not instantly fixed. Where is our subversion log? Apparently not here. Ah, this is caps lock also. Pro tip. Here is subversion. Yeah, so that is. Did I have a typo here in subversion? No. And the other was package config. What's going on with our package config? Package config. Yeah, the screws get loose, huh? Yeah, can I? Oh, not the chair. Okay. Okay, Papa also over. Yeah, from the trampoline, huh? From the playground, I know. Yeah, from the trampoline. Good that you take care of me. So that was subversion. What was the other? Ah, package config. Flist. What have we done with package config? We skipped over that manually package config. Let's see. Don't you want to work with your father? Oh, package config works. So I wanted to actually see if this has unresolved thimbles account load. libglib. That is, however, ld config in. Maybe this doesn't do wildcards yet, which we should add to the. Do you want to learn how to develop software? Okay, does it have ld config? I lose overview of which thing has. Best without typo, ld config. It has sbin, of course, sbin. So I patched change root into that. You can already sing very well. So ld config. I think my viewers would appreciate more if you help me code and not sing. Junior. Okay, this actually starts up. Junior. You become a regular YouTube video crasher. Happy when you're happy, huh? And actually the question then becomes, Junior, you are really loud. Okay, it does not do, apparently it does not do, oh wait, this was, Junior, you're very loud. You disturb my YouTube live stream. Can you not solve your programming puzzles? That's probably ld config cache. And do we have anything in GNOME? No, we don't. Okay, I guess you want to go out with me, don't you? Do you want to go out? Nee, nicht pupsen. Okay. You want to say bye-bye? Okay, let's add a to-do here. We add a to-do. What can you assist me already? Can you already type something? ABC? Patch uClib-c ld conf wildcard support. So yeah, we fixed some stuff. Nee. Du bist live im Internet. You're live on the internet. If I were you, I would think twice what I show the world. How good you can behave. So that's it for this video. My child wants attention. Don't you want to tell them something? Okay. Then that's it for this live stream. Say bye-bye. You can already talk. Talk. No, you don't want to listen to commands. Okay, let's go out. Want to go outside? Then that's it for this live stream. We fixed some stuff, added a to-do and found some issues, fixed some issues, hacked and patched, configure and method assertions. Enjoy your day and night. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe. And can you say already bye-bye? Bye-bye. Come, you can say it already.
Mama hand.
Mama went out already.
Not out.
Okay. Bye-bye.